Welcome students. Today we shall talk about physical features of India, one of a very important chapter of geography. The physical features of India can be grouped under the following physiographic divisions. They are the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. Okay, let's talk about the Himalayan mountains first of all, which is also called as the northern mountains. The northern mountains of India, marked by the lofty ranges of Himalayas, extends all along the northern frontiers of the country from eastern boundary of Pakistan to borders of Myanmar. Himalayas, the abode of snow, represent the youngest and highest folded mountains in the world, and longitudinally Himalayas consist of three parallel ranges from north to south. Look at the diagram. From north to south, Himalaya consists of three parallel ranges. They are the Greater Himalayas, which is called as Himadri, then the Middle Himalayas, that is Himachal, and the Outer Himalayas, that is Shivalik. So let's deal with all these three parallel ranges one by one. First of all, let's talk about Himadri. Himadri is the most continuous, loftiest and northernmost range of Himalayas. It is also called as the Great or Inner Himalayas, and it includes the most prominent Himalayan peaks such as Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Makalu, Nanga Parbat, etc. It consists of most of the parts of Himadri consist of granite, which is a very hard stone, and many glaciers that descends from Himadri, such as Yamunotri Glacier, Gangotri Glacier, from where the Ganga river originates. Such type of glaciers, they descend from Himadri. Also, there are the Milan glaciers, Zemu glaciers. These are the glaciers that are descending from Himadris. Then the average range of mountain is 6,000 meter. Average range is 6,000 meter, and the range is penetrable through some passes existing at very high altitude. We find several mountain passes in the Himadris, such as Burjila and Jojila Pass in Kashmir, Lapchala and Shipkila Pass in Himachal Pradesh, and Nitila Pass and Lipu Lake Pass in Uttaranchal, Nathula in Sikkim, and Bomdila Pass in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, next we talk about the second range of Himalaya just to the south of Himadris, that is Himachal. Himachal lies south to the Himadri, and the average width is 50 kilometer and the height is 3700 to 4500 meter. And some of the important mountain ranges are there in Himachal, such as Dhauladhar range, Pir Panjal, Nagtiba, Mahabharat range, Masuri range, etc. And of these, Pir Panjal range of Kashmir is longest one, running from 400 km from between Jhelum and Beas. The famous Kangada and Kullu valleys are found in the Himachal, and this region mainly composed of highly compressed rock. Look at the diagram, you will see the Himachal region lying just to the south of Himadri. One of the important feature of Himalayan range is that we find the existence of many hill stations in the Himachal region, such as Shimla, Ranikhet, Masuri, Nainital, Almora, Darjeeling, Dalhousie are there in the lesser Himalayas. And between the Pir Panjal and Jaskar range of main Himalayas lies the famous valley of Kashmir. Then comes the Shivalik range, which is the southernmost range of the Himalayas. The average height of Shivalik range is between 1000 meter to 1200 meter above the sea level, its width varies between 10 to 50 kilometer, and it is made of unconsolidated materials such as mud, silt, boulder, soft rock, etc. This is not a continuous range and merged with other ranges in the east. The Shivalik, as I told you, that comprises the southernmost range of Himalayas and overlooking the Great Plains. This chain of hills run almost parallel to the lesser Himalayas. If you see the diagram map of India, see it runs almost parallel to the lesser Himalayas for a distance of about 2400 kilometers from the Patwar Plateau to Brahmaputra Valley. So these are the three longitudinally these are the three parallel ranges of Himalayas. Then there are also the Trans Himalayas, which we do not have to study, but I just tell you something about the Trans Himalaya, that which is also called as the Tibetan Himalayas, and it consists mainly of Karakoram, Ladakh and Kailash range. The famous Mount K2, which is also known as Godwin Austen, is lying in the Trans Himalayan region. Then if you see the northeastern part of the country, you will find many hills such as Naga Hills, Mizo Hills, Garo Hills, Khasi Hills, etc. See, look at in the map, look at the northeastern part of the country, you will find several hills. They are the easternmost extension of the Himalayan regions, and these hills are collectively known as the Purvanchal Hills, and they are playing a very important role. These hills are playing a very important role in boosting the monsoon wind and bringing rainfall in the northeastern part of the country. Then the second important physiological division of India is the Great Plain of North India. The northern plains, which are an important physiological features of India, it has an area of about 7 lakh square kilometer. It composed of alluvial soil and a highly agricultural productive area. We find the agriculture practices mainly in the northern plain areas. The land is very suitable, very fertile for the cultivation of various crops, and this plain is crossed with three major rivers, that is the Ganga, which forms the Ganga plain, the Indus forms the Indus plain, and the Brahmaputra forms the Brahmaputra plain. And according to the variation, if we talk about the variations in relief features, the northern plain is divided into 4 regions. Okay, the Bhabar, the Terai, the Bangar and the Khadar. So let's talk about these 4 divisions one by one. See, Bhabar. Just to the south of Shivalik, you will find Bhabar. The rivers coming from Himalayas deposit all material consisting of gravel, sand, clay, and due to absorbing capabilities of these materials, water percolates in the lower areas. Here we find in the Bhabar region, we find that the small streams that disappear in the Bhabar region. Okay, and this region extends up to 8 to 11 kilometer. Then just to the south of Bhabar, we find Tarai region. Tarai region means full of water. So here the small stream that disappear in the Bhabar reappear in the Tarai region. It lies in south of Bhabar plain. In this river streams, as I just told you, re-emerge after they are being absorbed by the material like sand, silt, clay, and thus develop swampy conditions in the Tarai region. Its length is 10 to 12 kilometer. So these are the two main regions of these are the two main divisions I must say that of the northern plain region. Then Khadar and Bangar areas are there, where we find the existence of Khadar soil and Bangar soil, and question often comes regarding the differences between Khadar soil and Bangar soil. So Khadar soils are found in the low areas of the valley. Bangar soils are found in the higher reaches above 30 meter above the flood level. Khadar soils are finer in texture and Bangar are coarser in texture. Khadar soils are more fertile than that of the Bangar soil. So these are the main point of difference between the Khadar and Bangar soil, that is the new alluvium soil and old alluvium soil of the northern plain regions. Then to the south of northern plain we will find the great peninsular plateau of India lying to the south of the northern plain of India, and we all know that peninsular plateau has two main divisions. The northern part is Central Highland and the southern part is Deccan Plateau. Just look at the map, you will find just to the north of Narmada river you will find Central Highland, and to the south of Narmada you will find the Deccan Plateau. See, if you find the differences between the Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau, question often comes regarding the differences between Central Highland and Deccan Plateau. Central Highland lie to the north of Narmada river, Deccan Plateau lie to the south of the Narmada river. Central Highlands are bounded by the Aravalli mountains of Rajasthan, Vindhya ranges, Malwa, Chota Nagpur Plateau, Bundelkhand, Baghelkhand. These region comes under Central Highland. And Deccan Plateau are bounded by the Eastern Ghat and they are bounded the Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghat also. Then Central Highland slopes is from west to east. Central Highland slopes from west to east. And in the Deccan Plateau we will find the Mahadev, Kamur Hills and Makal Range makes its eastern part. Its eastern parts are comprises Mahadev, Kamur Hills and Makal Range, and Central Highland slope is from west to east, but Deccan Plateau slope is from southwest to northeast. So these are the two basic division of the peninsular plateau. Our Jharkhand is in Chota Nagpur Plateau. We all know Chota Nagpur Plateau, Jharkhand. Chota Nagpur Plateau is in Jharkhand and it is a part of which division? It is a part of Central Highland of the Peninsular Plateau. Then let's talk about the Ghat. See the map of India, southern part of India, you will find the western side, you will find the Western Ghat. In the eastern side, you will find Eastern Ghat. The differences you see, Western Ghat are formed on the western side, Eastern Ghat are formed on the eastern side. Western Ghat are regular and continuous, but Eastern Ghat are discontinuous and irregular, dissected by the rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. Western Ghat lie parallel to the Malabar coast, which is one of the famous coast of western coastal part of the country, but Eastern Ghat lie parallel to the Coromandel coast. Then fourth point, Western Ghat are comparatively higher in elevation, Eastern Ghat lower in elevation. The highest peak in the Western Ghat are Anaimudi and Doda Beta, and the highest peak in the Eastern Ghat is Mahendragiri. So these are the fundamental point of differences between Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat. Okay, you should know at least the 5 point of differences between the Western Ghat and the Eastern Ghat. And it is the monsoon. You all know that monsoon wind collided with that of the Western Ghat and brings rainfall in the western coastal plain of India first. Okay, then the monsoon wind spread to the other part of the country. Then let's talk about the coastal plain. Two coastal plains are there. Western coastal plain consisting of Konkan coast, Karnataka coast and southernmost coast, that is Malabar coast, and the eastern coastal plain, that is the Coromandel coast and Andhra coast. The coastal plains are characterized by an area of flat, low lying land that is situated adjacent to a water body, often a sea or ocean. It is also of note that coastal plains are separated from the interior of the larger landmass by other unique features. So look at the map. Just you see the western coastal plain, you will find the Konkan coast, in Konkan coast. Then to the south of Konkan coast, it's not mentioned, but that is the Karnataka coast, and the southernmost coast is the Malabar coast. Okay, so Konkan coast extends from Daman to Goa for a distance of about 500 km. Mumbai was an island where the coast is widest. Then Karnataka coast extends from Goa to Bangalore. Sharavati river drains this part, making Girosapa Falls. Then Malabar coast extends between Bangalore and Kanyakumari. And let's talk about the eastern coastal plain. Eastern coastal plain is much wider and drier than the west, and a number of deltas you will find here, particularly the Kaveri delta, which is mainly suitable for the cultivation of rice, so much that this region, Kaveri delta, is often called as the granary of South India. Okay, the Andhra plain lying south of Utkal extend up to Pulicat Lake, and the Utkal plain along Odisha coast includes the Mahanadi Delta. You also find Mahanadi Delta in the eastern coastal plain, which is also a very fertile region. So that's the difference between western coastal plain and that of the eastern coastal plain. Utkal coast is there. To the north of eastern coastal plain you will find Utkal coast. Then in between you will find Andhra coast, and to the south Coromandel coast. So there are 6 major coasts. In the western coastal plain you will find Konkan coast, Karnataka coast and Malabar coast. And in the eastern coastal plain you will find the Utkal coast, Andhra coast and Coromandel coast. See the differences between eastern coastal plain and western coastal plain. Western coastal plain lies between the Western Ghat and Arabian Sea. Eastern coastal plain lies between the Eastern Ghat and Bay of Bengal. Western coastal plain is a narrow plain which stretches from Gujarat to Kerala, and eastern coastal plain are wide and level plain with an average width of 80 to 100 km. Western coastal plain is drained by rivers like Narmada and Tapi. Eastern coastal plains is drained by more rivers forming deltas like Mahanadi forms delta, Godavari forms delta, Kaveri forms delta. Western coastal plain consists of 3 sections mainly, that is Konkan, Kannada plain, that is Karnataka plain, Karnataka coastal plain and Malabar coast, and eastern coastal plain consists of mainly 2 sections. In the northern part it is referred to as Northern Sarkar, while the southern part is known as Coromandel coast. Northern Sarkar, under Northern Sarkar there comes the Utkal coast and Utkal coast generally comes under Northern Sarkar. Utkal coast. See here Utkal coast, Andhra coast and Coromandel coast. Lake Chilka is a very important and famous lake of eastern coastal plain. It is in where? It is in Odisha, Lake Chilka. Then Indian deserts. It lies mostly in the Indian state of Rajasthan and extend into southern portion of Haryana and Punjab states, and in some northern part of Gujarat state. So the Great Indian Desert, which is also known as the Thar Desert, smallest desert of the world, it is located in the west of Aravalli Hills. Because of the existence of Aravalli Hills, we find the western part of it becomes so dry that finally transform into desert. The Thar Desert forms due to low rainfall and heavy soil erosion, while low rainfall due to the existence of Aravalli Mountains. Rainfall is very less than 150 mm. Arid climatic condition is there in the region. Very little vegetation. Sand dunes found in the Indian deserts, and only river of the Great Indian Desert is Luni River, which flows over it. Then there are 2 island groups of India. We all know. In Arabian Sea Island, we will find the Lakshadweep Island, and in the Bay of Bengal Islands, we will find the Andaman and Nicobar Island. Just look at the map. Andaman Nicobar Island in the eastern part, and the Lakshadweep Island in the western part. Lakshadweep group of island comprise 36 islands. Kavaratti is the capital of Lakshadweep, and the southernmost island Minicoy is separated from Maldives by 8-degree channel. And Andaman and Nicobar groups are separated by 10-degree channel, and these islands have been formed by extension of tertiary mountain chain of Arakan Yoma. The Andaman group of island is divided into 3 major groups, that is North Andaman, Middle Andaman and South Andaman, collectively called Great Andaman. And Port Blair is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar. It's a famous tourist destination of India also. Okay students, thank you.